Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, The Math Pad, and today we're going to do functions. We're going to begin with basic level functions, and the areas we're going to discuss in these questions are related to composite functions, inverse functions, and finding the domain and range for different functions. So, firstly, if we discuss what a function really is, like basically in a function, we're dealing with inputs and outputs. So, this f of x over here, this is your output, and x functions as the input. So if you look at the first part, it says find in its simplest form f inverse of f of x. So basically, they're asking us to find the inverse first, and then finding the composite function of the inverse and the original function together. So in order to find the inverse function, first what we do is we replace f of x with y. Then what we're going to do is right now the subject of the equation is the variable y, but we need to make x the subject of the variable. So what we're going to do is we're going to move terms to the left-hand side and isolate x on the right-hand side. So we first move y, 1, sorry. It's going to be y plus 1 equals to 3x. Then we do y plus 1 over 3. So as you can see, initially y was the subject of the equation, but now x is. And the equation is in terms of y now. Once you've done this, what we're going to do is we're going to replace x with f inverse x and y with x. So it's going to be f inverse x equals to x plus 1 over 3. This is your inverse function. Inverse function. These are the steps to finding the inverse function. Once you found the inverse function, now what we're going to do is we're going to find the composite function. For the composite function, it says f inverse of f of x. So that means what we're going to do is we're going to replace the domain of f inverse x with f of x. So let's just highlight this over here. This is going to be the new domain of f inverse x. So which means now, instead of x in the inverse, I'm going to write f of x. So it's going to be 3x minus 1 plus 1 over 3. So as you can see, what we've done over here is 3x minus 1 has replaced x. So it's going to be 3x over 3, which equals to 3. That's your answer. So now if we move to the next part, it's saying find f of fx. So now we're going to find the composite function of f of fx. And in this case, we're going to replace the domain of f of x with f of x. Basically, if f of x is 3x minus 1, f of fx means x is going to be replaced with 3x minus 1. So it's now 3 times 3x minus 1, then minus 1, which gives us 9x minus 3 minus 1, 9x minus 4. That is your answer for this. Then if we look at the next question, it's saying f of x equals to 5 minus 3x. Find f of negative 1. So this is a question where they're asking us to find the given the range for the given domain. So negative 1 is your domain over here. So when we replace x with negative 1 in the function, we get 5 minus 3 times negative 1, which is 5 plus 3, that equals to 8. Now this value is the range. So x is the domain, which is your input, and f of x is the range, which is also your output. Then in the next part, they're asking us to find the inverse. So original function is 5 minus 3x. We're going to repeat the same steps. We first replace f of x with y. Right now, y is the subject of the equation, but we need to make x the subject instead. So what we do first is we first take 5 to the other side, and wait, sorry, it'll be y minus 5 equals to negative 3x. Now what we're going to do is we're going to divide both sides by negative 3. So that gives us negative 5 over negative 3 equals to x. Now we replace x with f inverse x and y with x. So it becomes x minus 5. That is your inverse function. Then what they're asking us to do is find f of f inverse of 8. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to first find the value of f inverse of 8, which would be 8 minus 5 over negative 3. 3 over negative 3, which is negative 1. So f inverse of 8 is negative 1. Now this negative 1 basically becomes the domain of f of x. So f of f inverse of 8 basically will be f minus 3 times negative 1. Since the value of f inverse of 8 is negative 1, so we just directly substitute that as the domain of f of x for this composite function. That's going to be 5 plus 3, 8. Next answer. Then, okay, so for this fraction, it says calculate f of 104 for this function. Steps are pretty much the same. 104 is the domain for this function. So we replace x with 104 in the fraction. Let's solve the numerator first. So it's going to be 1 plus 12 over 4 over 104, which would be 13 over 4, 104. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this and rewrite this as 304 divided by 104. That's easier to, understand what's happening. And since when we're dividing two fractions, what we do is we take the reciprocal, and the reciprocal we replace the division by multiplication, and we flip the second fraction. So 104 becomes 4, and the answer is 13. Next, it says solve f of x equals to 104. So in the previous case, 104 was the domain, but now it's saying 104 is the range, and it's asking us to find the corresponding domain. So it's f of x equals to x plus 3 over x. This equals to 104. Whenever we have fractions on both sides, directly just cross multiply to get rid of the fraction. So it's going to be x equals to 4 times x plus 3. X equals to 4x plus 12. Collect the like terms on each side. So I'm going to take the 12 on the left-hand side and x on the right-hand side. Negative 12 equals to 3x. 12 divided by 3. Negative 4 is x. Similarly, for question 4, it says f of x equals to 10 to the power of x. Calculate f of 0.5. Same thing. Replace x with 0.5. And that's going to equal to, plug this in the calculator, 10 to the power of 5 is 3.16. Then it says write on the value of f inverse of 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to first find the inverse. So y replaces f of x. Now over here, when we have exponents, in order for us to switch their places, we're going to change their base. So right now, what we're going to do is x would equal to log of y to the base of 10. For this, you need to be familiar with the rules of logarithm where you're changing the base. So next what we do is x is replaced by f inverse x and y is replaced by x. And since it's asking us to find f inverse of 1, log of 1 to the base of 10, the answer of this is always 0. That's fixed. Hence, this is your answer. If you have any questions or confusions, let me know in the comments below.